life, and I'm super excited to be here. My name is Bisola Miriam, and today I will be answering a question. Who should write you a reference letter? Who exactly should write you a reference letter? So a lot of times when we're trying to get, people to write us references, we often do not, focus on, the best practice or the right approach to actually getting only the right people to write us references. And so because of that, we end up making mistakes, or we end up having a situation whereby the wrong people are the ones writing references for us, whereas the right people don't get to be able to write us references. So today I want to teach you the strategies for first identifying those who should write you references. Secondly, the best method or approach to getting these people to write you references. And thirdly, where you can find templates or tools that can help you support your referees as they help prepare you your reference letters. Who should you ask for references? First of all, you cannot ask everybody to write you a reference letter. Just like you are not everybody's cup of tea, your reference letter is not everybody's cup of tea. Recommendation letter is not something that every Dick and Harry has to write for you. You must be selective and you must be calculative, meaning that you should only ask people who are going to be able to attest to your academic and professional preparedness for that course or that discipline or that program, right? So when you identify this, then you can then ask for reference letters. So the kind of people you can ask for reference letters are lecturers or professors who have taught you in the past. So maybe you're aiming for a master's program or a doctoral program or even an undergraduate program. Think of teachers, instructors, or professors who have taught you in the past. Those are the people who can attest to your academic readiness, your academic preparedness for the undergraduate program, the master's program, or the doctoral program that you're applying for. The second thing is you need to bear in mind that it is possible that some of those who actually taught you, now you need to be very strategic here. It is not every professor, every instructor, every teacher who has ever taught you that will be relevant to the application that you're trying to prepare. So, for instance, you were taught by professors who taught you mathematics, English language, physics, biology, chemistry, these different courses. Perhaps you're now looking at applying for a program in social work. You cannot ask a professor of physics to read. I won't think, or I wouldn't advise that you ask a professor of physics to come write you a reference for social work. So if you happen to have professors who other places where you borrowed courses, or other professors who have taken you courses that are similar or related to that new program you want to apply for, then you can ask them for reference letters or recommendation letters. Let me give you another example. So maybe you had your first degree, like me, in classics, and then you want to apply for a second degree, maybe in law, and perhaps you happen to have been taught by professors in classics, and one of such professors probably also lectures in the faculty of law. Now, because of the fact that that professor can first is your instructor or your professor. Second, because that professor has relevant, can actually talk about you in terms of your academic readiness and preparedness. And thirdly, that professor who is not just a professor of classics, and also who is not just a professor of classics, but a professor of classics and law, can become a good reference letter writer for your application for a program such as a law degree. I don't know if this makes sense. I'll repeat that. You want to apply for a program like a law degree, and you were taught by different professors in the past, and one of them happens to be a lawyer. That professor is a better, would be a much more preferable candidate to ask for a reference letter for a program in law or for a degree in law. I don't know if that makes sense. Even though you did not connect with this professor as a law student, but as a student of another discipline where this professor was also an instructor, it would be much more relevant for your next plan if you ask the same professor to write you a reference letter for a law degree or a medicine degree or a physics program. You need to be able to look at the persona of your professor and ask yourself, does this person fit into the ideal picture of the person you should be asking for a reference letter, especially for that program? So it's not just enough that the person must be able to talk about your academic preparedness, but the thing is that person relevant? Is that person's role or position really relevant to your application? Think about it. Think really about it. The third thing or the second thing that I want to talk about now is how can you approach your referees? How can you now, before I talk about the second thing, I also want you to know that in addition to asking your professors in school for reference letters, you should be able to have someone that can also attest to your professional skills. I mean, what's critical reasoning, problem solving, project management, administrative related skills do you have? If you do possess all of this, then there must be someone you can also ask for such a reference. Yes, you might be applying for an academic program, but you need certain, non-academic skills like soft skills or professional skills to be able to prove to the school or program or department that you are a worthy candidate. And you need someone who can attest to your professional preparedness. The thought now, let's talk about the second point. The second point here is you need to be able to identify the right strategies to use in getting professors or instructors or past employers or social impact leaders in your community, right, to write you a reference letter. The strategy is quid pro quo. What is the strategy? I call it the quid pro quo principle. I want you to write that in the chat. The quid pro quo. What is quid pro quo? Quid pro quo basically means that you need to give something for something. You need to give something for something, meaning you have to rub this person's back so that this person can rub your back. If you're not a person of value to that person and you're not willing to give something, how can you possibly ask the person for reference? Now, the quid pro quo could be something you have to do in the immediate. It could be something you've done in the past, and it could be something you may discuss and negotiate with this person about. If you've been really helpful for that, you've been really helpful in helping that community leader or social impact leader that you want to ask for ask for a reference letter, then it won't be more difficult for you to get the reference letter out of that person because you've done the quid for pro quo. For the pro quo, you've done the quid, you are giving something for something. You've given something beforehand, which is your time, you volunteering for their project, you dedicating yourself to their cause. That is the quid. And the pro quo here is this person would be willing to write you a reference letter. You can't suddenly wake up and say, okay, I want to write. Even the academic professors, have you been involved in their research work? Did you serve on their team? Did you help them to collect data? Were you a research assistant for this person or a teaching assistant? What was your role in the life of that person, in their progress, in their career progression, or in helping them achieve their own set goals? You can't be asking people for something when you're not willing to also give something. It is very important that you think about it. The last thing I want to share with you is having understood who to ask for references and the best method, the best approach to getting them to write reference letters for you. The third thing you want to be able to do is to actually focus on, excuse me, making the work of this reference letters writers easy. Now, how do you do that? The way to do that is you need to be able to design a timeline, identify a follow up strategy, meaning you have to keep in touch with them so that you can drive them to write your reference letters. One thing you can do that will make the work of the person who is going to write your reference letter easy is to actually provide your statement of interest. So someone wants to write you a reference letter. Yes, they know you. Yes, they have been in your life. But the truth is, they might not be able to tell the things you've done in recent time. They might not understand fully why you're applying for what program, right? And the best way to have to actually make their work easy is to send them a statement of purpose or a statement of interest, something that clearly articulates your preparedness for what you want to go for, your readiness for that new program, your passion for that academic interest. They need to be able to say, wow, I'm convinced that this girl or this lady or this man knows what he or she or they or their, depending on your gender, wants, right? You need to understand that these people don't know everything and they need to be able to talk about you even up till now. Up till now, in the sense that have you done other things? Have you achieved other feats? State all of that in your statement of interest, right? And that way you will get them to be able to give you a reference later, right? It is very crucial that you learn this. It is very important that you do this, and I hope you do. Thank you so much for listening. Today, I've talked to you about who you should ask for a reference or recommendation letter. I said you cannot ask your friend. I talked about the kind of person you should ask and how that person must really fit into the goal or the kind of reference that you want this person to write. Your application is a story, it's a narrative, and every narrative has to connect from the letter of introduction to the statement of purpose to the resume. Everything must tell a story. Your story is you want to apply for a degree in family law. Let it show from your letter of introduction to your statement of purpose, to your resume, the things you have done, the places you have been, the conversations you've had, the papers you have written, or the articles you have published, or the books you have published, or whatever it is you have posted, or a blog post, or an article, whatever it is you have done that connects with that central idea that which is your interest. The same way your referees must tell a story that fits into the same narrative. I hope this makes sense to you. So today I have been able to talk to you about who you should ask for a reference letter, the strategies that would help you get them to write reference letters for you, and lastly, the very and most important thing that I've shared is how you can get a template. You need to give them a template, and using your statement of interest as a tool, as a guide, they will be able to write you a reference letter. Now, having said all this, maybe you're watching right now and you're wondering, okay, how do I do this? How can I support myself? I want to apply and all of that. Let me talk to you briefly about what I do. My name is Bisola Miriam. I'm a study abroad coach with over 7 years of experience, and I'm here to help you get a guaranteed scholarship in 6 months. This is something that I believe it's achievable, it's workable, it's doable, and it's something that you can have. I've done it before and I do it all the time and I help other people and I want to be able to support you. Now, so in order to be able to support scholars, I came up with several options depending on your need, depending on what you want. Now, I have offers from $1 to $10 and to $100. So if you're looking for like a quick cheat sheet or like a quick hack or like a quick strategy to add to whatever it is you know already, I would recommend that you visit my website to be able to see all my offers, especially from the $1 offers. Now, maybe you're looking for a self-help guide, like a blueprint that you can follow from step one to the last step. Then I would recommend my book, which is $10 instead of $100. Perhaps you're thinking of doing this, but you don't want a quick cheat, you don't want a quick hack, you don't want a guide or an ebook with a template, a structure you can follow by yourself, but you want to be in a community, you want to be supported, you want to be in a support group where others are also pursuing the same goal. And so I came up with what I call the 100 Scholars Club. The 100 Scholars Club is basically a program where I will support you. I won't do your work for you. I need to emphasize that, but I'm going to support you for 6 months in order to help ensure that you achieve your goal. The guarantee therein is you would follow through my process, which has worked for several people. And if you follow through, like I said, you're definitely going to get your results. In addition to that, you would also be around other 99 other scholars looking for the same thing that you are looking for. In addition to that, you're also going to be having access to my all of my cheat sheets, my hack book, and whatever new tool or resource that I release. You will be the first to have access to everything, and you would get unrestricted support every month on a private on a private Zoom room. Zoom, as in being the platform where I would coach you, and this session will be recorded. Even if you miss a session, you can always go back. Now, during the course of this program, I would review your application document just once. And I can guarantee that the one-time review will be top notch because with what you're going to be learning in the video course, in addition to the book, if you're serious about it, you're going to get your results and you're going to improve significantly. And by the end of the program, I can assure you, if you're consistent, if you're diligent, and if you follow through what I share, thank you, Ms. Wealth, for joining on Instagram. So you would follow, if you follow through, you have nothing to worry about. And most importantly, there is full refund if after you have done everything that I said, you have gone through this program, you have applied all my strategies, and you do not get your results. Now, when you fail to come for classes or you go against the rules of guiding rules or the modus operandi of this program, there will be no refund. So perhaps this sounds like what you need: a 6 month of intensive coaching on a monthly basis on a Zoom call, streamed and recorded live, access to cheat sheet, access to the hack book, access to my video course, plus access to me every month where I ask your questions, plus one-time professional review of all of your application documents as a group, then this is what you should go for. And I believe if is this goal is something you want to get off the ground in the next 6 months, then you should sign up for the scholarship, for the 100 Scholars Club by the Scholarship Guaranteed Academy. Thank you so much, and I'm rooting for you. You can do this, and I believe that there is abundance in the universe. There is no lack, only abundance. God bless you, and I love you so much. Bye. Take care.